You're listening to the Everything Jewish 10 Minutes at a Time podcast, where you'll learn about every Jewish topic imaginable in about 10 minutes. Okay, quick disclaimer before we start. I am not an actual human voice. I'm an artificial intelligence voice, which means sometimes when I try to say Hebrew words, they come out sounding like I swallowed a Wi-Fi router. So if I pronounce Magen David more like Magen David or something equally ridiculous, just laugh, forgive me, and blame the programmers. Now, today's topic is the Magen David, also known as the Jewish star. You've seen it everywhere, on synagogue buildings, around people's necks, in Israeli flags, and on cookies at your cousin's bar mitzvah. It looks simple, two overlapping triangles, but its story is anything but. Like your grandma's explanation of why you're still single, it goes in many directions, has historical depth, and ends with you feeling both enlightened and slightly confused. So, let's dig into the star that became the ultimate symbol of Jewish identity. First things first, the name Magen David literally means Shield of David. Sounds like something you'd pick up in a video game to get extra protection against trolls, both medieval and internet. But here's the catch. King David himself never carried around a hexagram-shaped shield with two triangles. That's mostly a later myth or poetic idea. In Jewish tradition, David's shield is often thought of as God's protection, not an actual metal object. So the star symbol being linked to David is kind of like how people say Einstein's brain is in a jar somewhere. Fun to imagine, but historically shaky. Still, calling it the Shield of David gave the symbol gravitas. It's much cooler to wear a necklace that represents King David's divine force field than to say, yeah, I'm rocking this random geometric doodle I found. The name connected Jews across centuries to their heroic king and to the idea of spiritual strength, which helped elevate the star into something iconic. Here's the twist, though. The star wasn't originally just Jewish. Surprise! This shape pops up all over the world in ancient times. Archaeologists have found versions of the hexagram in Hindu, Buddhist, and Islamic art, not to mention random places like Mesopotamian seals. It's like the fidget spinner of antiquity. Everybody had their version. So why did Jews grab onto it? Around the Middle Ages, Jewish communities in Europe started using it as a decorative motif on manuscripts, buildings, and amulets. Think of it as the medieval equivalent of slapping a logo on your stuff to say, this is ours. Over time, the star edged out other symbols and grew into a uniquely Jewish emblem. Just as the cross became central in Christianity, the star started branding itself as the go-to Jewish logo. It wasn't overnight, though. It took centuries of slow adoption, with rabbis, mystics, and communities assigning it deeper meanings. The symbol's universality actually made it a great candidate to carry local Jewish flavor while still looking cosmic. And speaking of cosmic, let's talk Kabbalah. Jewish mystics in the Middle Ages loved the star because it looked like a visual metaphor for all kinds of deep ideas. Picture a rabbi with a long beard staring at this six-pointed figure, mumbling about divine energies, balance, and opposites. Two triangles, one pointing up toward heaven, the other down toward earth. Boom. Suddenly, it's about the relationship between humanity and God. Or 6 points surrounding a center, symbolizing God's rule over all directions. North, south, east, west, up, and down. If this sounds like something you'd hear in a yoga class while trying not to fall asleep in downward dog, you're not wrong. Kabbalists turned the star into a spiritual diagram, and even though not every Jew bought into the mystical explanations, the star gained an aura of sacred meaning. It wasn't just a pretty shape anymore. It was like a secret code for Jewish spirituality, carrying layers of symbolic connections that you could chew on for centuries. Now, fast forward a bit. By the 17th century, Jewish communities in Central and Eastern Europe started using the Magen David as their official communal emblem. Think of it as the ancient version of slapping a logo on your group WhatsApp chat. Prague, for example, adopted it on synagogue flags and seals. Eventually, it became a kind of shorthand for, this belongs to the Jews. It's not that rabbis sat down in a meeting and voted, all in favor of the star as our logo, say aye. It was more organic. Synagogues decorated with it, Jewish books printed it, and the symbol quietly slipped into the collective Jewish imagination. By the 19th century, especially with the rise of Jewish nationalism, the star was the undisputed champion of Jewish branding. It outcompeted other contenders like the menorah, which had been around since the temple days, but was harder to doodle on notebook covers. The star won the popularity contest simply by being simple, versatile, and recognizable. Then came the darkest chapter, the Nazis. In the 20th century, the star was twisted into a badge of shame. Jews were forced to wear yellow stars on their clothing, turning what was once a proud emblem into a target. It's one of history's cruelest ironies. Imagine your favorite team logo suddenly used to mark you for persecution. That's how devastating it was. But here's the powerful twist. After the Holocaust, the Jewish star didn't disappear. Instead, it came roaring back, stronger than ever. Survivors and communities reclaimed it as a badge of resilience. When Israel declared independence in 1948, the star became the centerpiece of its flag, a powerful statement that said, "What others used to degrade us, we now lift up with pride." The same symbol that Nazis tried to weaponize turned into the icon of Jewish survival and strength. Talk about the ultimate reversal story, like the underdog movie where the loser becomes the champion against all odds. Today, the Magen David is everywhere. Walk into a Judaica store and you'll see it on jewelry, mezuzah cases, and even yarmulkes with sequins. It's painted on Israeli Air Force jets, carved into synagogue windows, and printed on T-shirts at Jewish summer camp. It has gone from mystical code and medieval decoration to the worldwide shorthand for Jewish identity. Sure, there are still debates. Some Jews feel more connected to the menorah as the real ancient Jewish symbol. But let's be honest, the star has won the marketing game. It's like the Nike swoosh of Judaism. You don't have to explain it, you just know. And even though the design is thousands of years old, it feels timeless. It works whether you're carving it into stone, printing it on paper, or slapping it on a flag emoji in your phone. That's staying power. And whether you see it as sacred geometry or just a proud identity marker, it's the star that shines brightest in Jewish symbolism. Of course, like any symbol, the Magen David comes with layers of interpretation. Some people see it as political, tied forever to the state of Israel. Others see it as spiritual, a reminder of connection between heaven and earth. For many, it's cultural, grandma's necklace, synagogue architecture, or the cookie shape at a holiday party. The beauty of the star is that it flexes to fit whatever role it needs. In a sense, it's like the Jewish people themselves, adaptable, multi-layered, sometimes misunderstood, but impossible to erase. It can be religious or secular, ancient or modern, solemn or fun. You can wear it to make a bold statement or just because it looks nice. And because it's so recognizable, it links Jews everywhere in a way that few other symbols can. When you see someone wearing a Magen David, you instantly know. This person is connected to the same 1,000-year-old story, the same struggles, and the same resilience. So what do we make of the Magen David today? In one sense, it's just geometry. 2 triangles, 6 points, big deal. But in another sense, it's one of the most powerful logos humanity has ever produced. It has carried Jews through mystical speculation, communal pride, horrifying persecution, and national rebirth. That's a lot of history packed into a shape you can doodle during a boring Zoom call. It's more than just a star. It's a story of survival, adaptation, and identity. Whether you see it carved above a synagogue door or dangling from someone's neck at a concert, it says, "This is Jewish." And that's why it remains such a potent, emotional, and meaningful symbol. The Magen David has truly earned its place in Jewish hearts, not because of some mystical superpower, but because of the way generations of Jews have given it meaning, layer upon layer, until it became the ultimate shorthand for Jewish identity. And that's where we'll wrap things up for today. The Magen David might look like a simple shape, but behind those triangles lies a history full of twists, turns, and a whole lot of Jewish resilience. It's a reminder that symbols are never static. They grow, evolve, and sometimes even get flipped on their heads before finding their true place. Hopefully, the next time you see a Jewish star, whether it's on a necklace, a synagogue, or the flag of Israel, you'll see not just a design, but a living story. Thanks for spending these 10 minutes with me exploring the star of stars in Jewish culture. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor. Send it to a friend who might like it, or leave a positive review so others can find the podcast. That way, this little audio star keeps shining brighter. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and maybe practice doodling a Magen David during your next work meeting. It's more spiritual than TikTok scrolling.